Welcome to Fatter Future episode 22. I'm Steve Williams.
And I'm Justin Callahan.
And yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. We are in Minecraft today.
We are. We thought it would be appropriate given the conversations we're talking about today. And, it's the end of the year. It's a little bit of holiday relaxation, right?
Absolutely. And we've got some helpers in here with us today.
We have the entire Infotech team, actually. They are keeping us safe by the campfire and helping to renovate some of our area behind us over there.
Yes, I'm going to move over here by the campfire because it is very scenic to the occasion. And it is nighttime in Minecraft, which is often a dangerous period of time.
Yep. So there's a very nice campfire.
Today, you want to cover our topics for us?
Absolutely. So to start with our topics, we've got first topic is actually talking about, so we're actually doing some review on some of the year topics, haven't we, Steve? We are talking about Apple versus Epic. There's actually been some new developments on that trial and kind of how that's shaping the world of mobile app stores. Then we've got a follow-up in regards to NVIDIA and just kind of the conversation about chip deployments and chip managements and how NVIDIA is really just kind of leading the pack. They have tried to acquire ARM and just some, kind of interesting conversations there. And then kind of very fitting to where we are right now, we're actually going to talk about the virtual workspace and a little bit, especially with Meta having been rebranded. For those of you that don't know, Facebook rebranded itself as Meta recently. And they're kind of, the conversation has very much been around this Meta space moving forward and kind of what that means and how that was kind of preceded by all of that virtual workspace conversation earlier in the pandemic.
That is great. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're giving everybody a preview of what the future work world looks like. Welcome to it. Of course, it's supposed to be higher res and more realistic looking avatars, but this is a good start.
You say that, but I'm just happy to be here.
That's right. So let's get started. Let's talk about the Epic Apple lawsuit battle. It ended earlier this year. We actually did a previous episode with predictions. But it didn't turn out, of course, to be an all win, all lose situation, right?
Yeah, it was actually really interesting. A lot of people said that Apple won, but also in the sense that kind of Epic didn't lose. While Epic did not, win the resounding grounds that they had hoped, and also very intrinsically, they were not allowed back on the App Store. Simply because they had, it was determined that they violated their terms and agreements with Apple. They did make gain two major concessions, and the first one was surrounding the idea of being able to promote other ways for payment methods. And in a nutshell, so like the way that it had worked is that let's say you've somehow never heard of Netflix, right? You actually go onto your iPhone or your Apple device, and you say, I want to sign up for Netflix account. You can do that through the Netflix app and through the Apple Store, but it's not allowed to tell you that there is another way to do that you could log on to netflix.com and set up your account, and you might save some money. And if you sign up at netflix.com, Netflix gets all of your money for that subscription as opposed to being forced to pay Apple a cut. And so this has now changed that Netflix is now able to tell you, hey, you can sign up right here if you want, or you can go to netflix.com and sign up with us directly and not use Apple's payment methods. The other part of that was in regards to basically having the ability to put in either, quote, buttons or links that would directly connect you to that other payment platform. And so that's really kind of a big conversation because it's allowing you to people to promote that there's other ways around that it's not required to be silent on different ways to sign up for a service. And so Apple's definitely kind of dragged their feet on enacting both of those. and they got in trouble a little bit. They were told that they still needed to keep to the same deadline, and they are pretty much coming up very closely to that without much action. And they've actually been obtained a stay of implementation by the appeals court to say that they don't have to implement this. So it's all very contentious right now. There's a lot of back and forth, and this is also complicated by some other legal cases that are going on. South Korea has a case that's going on, and I think there's another one. All of this is just, though, continuing to kind of break down that conversation of there's only one way, to pay for services or goods through the App Store and through apps on your phone. It's no longer this one funnel that has to go through Apple. It's kind of starting to crack on that ability to, provide and transfer knowledge of there's other ways to do this, and there's other ways to support, maybe your favorite app store or app developer.
Well, that was a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot.
All right. Well, I think I'm just going to leave it right there so we can move right into our next topic. But I think the bottom line is it's not over, and there was no clear winner just yet.
It is not over, and it's enough to make anyone's head spin. Bad Minecraft fun right there.
We'll jump up and down on that note. All right. So topic 2 is the NVIDIA ARM acquisition. We're in an age of very, very large tech companies. And the question is, how large can they get? Is this actually the limit? It looks like NVIDIA is potentially having some challenges getting this acquisition through. Is it going to happen?
Right. And I know you've kind of dug into this a little bit more than I, but I know that, a few people, or not people, but a few organizations in countries have actually filed lawsuits against NVIDIA from trying to acquire another chip manufacturer or chip provider with ARM. And I think that's actually now being contested in the US, the UK, and the European Union.
Well, the regulatory agencies have had problems. I'm not aware of what lawsuits have happened, but certainly there are regulatory pressures on this. It's a $40 billion acquisition, and it's slated to finish up in March of 2022, but it's run into a lot of resistance from the various authorities. So the CEO actually of NVIDIA, he recently stated that he didn't think March was realistic at this point, given the amount of pressure they're facing. And so it's a kind of fatter future question. Is there a too big? Are we finally seeing some change to some of the things we've talked about in our previous episodes with big tech companies? And what point is there a limit?
Well, and I think what's really interesting about this topic particularly is that some of these things really would never, maybe had been glossed over, or maybe been, not really as much in the light as they are over the couple of years of pandemic. I think one of the most interesting stories was, I guess there is one of the more stark shortages of semiconductors out there is actually based off of the problem that there is only a single manufacturer and supplier of that kind of semiconductor. And it's actually Texas Instruments. And I don't remember overly the details, but it's been very much kind of in this public understanding that having one company in charge of, supplying these kinds of, a certain kind of chip can be very hazardous, because if anything goes wrong, we're kind of in a very, sore spot in terms of just the global industries. And I think that's just really kind of underscoring a lot of this, concern towards consolidation of chip manufacturers and chip suppliers.
Well, and I think if we were not in this supply chain situation post-pandemic, or wherever we're at in the waves of pandemics, it might have been a different conversation. But certainly, the idea of one supplier having so much control over inventory and manufacturing capability is a real threat in today's marketplace. So let's see what happens, but that'll definitely be a topic we cover in 2022 again, I think, as we talk about large tech companies. It's a ongoing topic from a regulatory sense, and should be very interesting. I'm going to take a quick break and eat some food. Okay. All right, so our
right.
final topic tonight, and really what brought us here into the world of Minecraft, and the team is doing. I hope they're not majoring as architects. Oh, there's a creeper back there. It could be bad news.
We're gonna see an
Um,
explosion over there. Oh my goodness. Yep. We've got an explosion going on. Well, I am sure they will. That's okay. We're safe over here.
camera's not moving, so here we go, camera. All right, there we go.
Virtual world is far more
All right, the
dangerous than
camera
real life.
pans. Look at that. Good.
But
That's great.
hey,
That's the nice farm. That's a great wheat farm right there.
yep.
So here we are in this Minecraft world. Our last topic is really the Facebook change to Meta and Zuckerberg's announcement of the metaverse. And basically, this is our future right here.
Right. And I mean, I think this whole topic, like we've been talking about virtual workplaces and kind of that slow move ever since the beginning of the pandemic, which is insane to think that's almost 2 years now. We've been talking about these sorts of things in different capacities. But Facebook rebranding themselves to Meta and, Mark Zuckerberg going on to be very specific, that be very clear, candidly, that Facebook's goal now and focus is this metaverse, and that they are going to, kind of their aim is to be shepherds of this virtual space that really is extending beyond just one capacity. And it's talked a lot about what is the meta space or metaverse, and kind of consensus is that it's any space that expands beyond one role. It's a game. Like right now, we are doing a Fatter Future video blog inside of what is conceptually a game. And so a lot of people would argue Minecraft is a metaverse. A lot of people have argued that Fortnite might be a metaverse, and the Oculus is. And so as those things start to collide, that becomes a real question of how do we interact with other people? Are they in, photorealistic? Is it just someone on a webcam, or is it maybe someone in a all gold happy face character that is just bouncing around a wheat field? I mean, it's really kind of hard to tell.
I mean, you look like an assembly of gold bars with a smiley face, so not
That's what I
that
mean.
they look a whole lot better, but it is what it is. But the idea I think that's to me worth talking about in our forum is that the vision painted by Meta is that your work and personal blend here in the metaverse, and I think they're really playing off the post-pandemic work from home kind of distance connection to people, staying connected to your coworkers, staying connected to family. They're mixing it all into one big bowl and stirring it up.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And when those lines blurred, right? When you start having more and more parts of your life in one virtual space, right? And I think that's kind of, their end goal, right? They want you to not just spend your work time or not just spend your personal time in a virtual space. They want you to live in it. And what does that look like? And how do you interact with it? Is it through through an application like this, or is it through some VR goggles, or kind of have to wait to see. But the intent is very
And
clear.
the
It's
other
not going
part is
away.
that the metaverse doesn't disconnect you from reality. So that's what happens a lot is that you're inside this world. You're now in just this game for this period of time, but you take a phone call. Well, you can do that inside the metaverse, right? You want to get a text, you get a text message from a colleague about a different meeting. You can take that in the metaverse and deal with it so that you're able to stay immersed into the metaverse and still do your outside connections while you're in it. So that's a little bit, again, it's an evolution, and he really talks about the idea of what the building blocks are going to be to get there, and so it's a vision down the road, and we're starting on it now.
Absolutely. I'm just excited to be here.
Yes, it took a little bit of effort to pull this off, but this is pretty cool, and I think it's time to wrap up our December 2021 final episode 22.
Absolutely. Well, happy holidays, everyone, and hope you have lots of fun. And we'll definitely be back in January with, CES is literally right around the corner. And so I'm sure there's going to be some really interesting news and conversation topics coming out of that for sure. There always is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Remember to like and subscribe, and certainly post any comments. Hopefully this was a little different and entertaining, and we'll look forward to catching you on our next episode. Happy holidays.
Thanks. Bye.